People, DG, I'm back again. In regards to Mesut Ozil and Nuno Emery, it's exhausting, people, and our CBA can't be asked to go through it again. If you want some of my additional thoughts, please just scroll down my timeline. You'll see about 2 vids. I think one says, I believe in Nuno Emery, but some of the decisions are baffling, and one's about, I don't care if we sell Ozil or something. Just go and type in that, you'll find it. But the latest story or bit of gossip on the long-lasting list of this nonsense now has been, obviously, you've seen, we'll talk about it, but Ozil's tweets and all of these sort of things. And the latest reports emerging, apparently a lot of papers are saying, the Daily Mail in particular, people are saying the Sun, I don't read the Sun, but allegedly some of the players are beginning to question Nuno Emery, especially in regards to Ozil not being in the side. They feel he could add more creativity, and they're drawing parallels between the Neymar situation. Now, it's a difficult one because away from it, if Nuno Emery doesn't deem that Ozil isn't the guy for him, then cool, fair enough, anyone can go. I personally feel he can see that Ozil is 30, but in terms of the whole dealing with these sort of characters, the Ozils, the Pogbas, the Hazards, all of these sort of things, I think he can't be asked for it, and I think being a manager coming to a new club, it's a difficult one because do you work with these guys? If you get them on side, you basically get the whole squad on side, or if you get rid of one, you keep the dressing room. You look at the whole Neymar stuff allegedly, and maybe that's a big reason in regards to him and Ozil, because it doesn't make sense to say that despite the fact we've lost 7 in the last 14, he hasn't featured. He's featured once in the last 10. We're not in good. If we was in great form, then the reasons he's given for tactical decisions, protagonists, all of these things would last. But when we're putting in shaky performances, win, lose, or draw, and he's given tactical reasons, you can see how these questions are going to get more and more. And if I'm honest, if I'm Nuno Emery, the last thing I want to hear is having to constantly answer questions in regards to him and Ozil. He's got a lot to deal with since he took over in August, and a lot to deal with to try and get Arsenal back on track. This is one thing you don't want to have to deal with, and I feel he's not helping himself. When you say tactical reasons, but Joe Willock's my guy, big up Joe Willock, but you're seeing Joe Willock and Nketiah in the squad. When Ozil is on the pitch in the rare occasions, he's named as a captain. He's wearing the captain armband. So fans can't really make sense of this, to be fair. And to be honest, you have to wonder for the group of players, because we can't diss player power. I do think in regards to Mesut Ozil, Nuno Emery and things, people have made their decisions, because we know historically with Mesut Ozil, they've divided opinions. Some people, and there's nothing right or wrong with that, they've decided that, in fact, there is something wrong if you can have agendas or your own opinion. There's a difference between an opinion and agenda. An opinion would be Ozil isn't the guy, he lacks commitment. That's an opinion. But an agenda would be he can't get into the side, he cannot help us from now to the end of May. Do you get what I'm saying? Some people, Nuno Emery can do no right, he can do no wrong. Some people support Mesut Ozil and Nuno Emery more than they support the actual club, when it's just the balance. We need to look at the collective. Ozil form's been indifferent, he doesn't need to start every week. But clearly from now till May, like with several other players, some that I don't feel are good enough for this club, we have to utilise them, to be fair with you. Hopefully we turn around the Europa League, but to a degree, if we turn around that tie, there's gonna become a difficult decision for Nuno Emery, provided we're still in it. Do we still go for the top 4, or do we sacrifice that for the Europa League? Do we keep focus on the Europa League and give way to the top 4? To which you're gonna need to rely on your side. And you've got to wonder, if you're in the dressing room, and we do just say these opinions are true about creativity, which there has been a lack of it. If you're one of the players in the dressing room, I have to wonder, are you beginning to question Nuno Emery because you're seeing your guy get alienated and things like that, and it's not really reflected on the pitch? You have to wonder what the players feel. I do feel he risks losing the dressing room with this. I feel if he gets Ozil off the books, he goes a good way to keep making the dressing room his and being a dictatorship of sort. Not even a dictatorship, just having the command of the dressing room. Or if it goes the wrong way, his job, I genuinely feel it could be over before it started. Because if he loses Ozil, he's lost Ozil already. But if these players, if you imagine, if you're Lacazette, Guendouzi, Torreira, whoever, and you see what he's doing with Ozil, and you think, this manager's kind of a dud, you know. I was gassed at the start, but I don't think he knows what he's doing. You'll lose them subconsciously, people. Football is very difficult. Player power is a massive thing, people. It's not them days of Sir Alex Ferguson. You could get one wrong and out, or you could bollock someone in the dressing rooms and that's it. Now if you bollock someone, they're talking to their agents, they're conspiring against you. Like, almost the manager, it's sad because the manager's at the end of the day the one that brings the results to the club. Obviously the players play, but brings the results to the club, but he's the first one out. To be honest, excluding Ozil, but if it comes to a degree where the players aren't believing in him, they're not going to get rid of every player for Unai Emery. It's going to come down to Unai Emery or the player. Now, Obviously, Unai Emery will win this Ozil thing. I just believe we should utilise his skill set in some capacity from now to the end of the season, because I get the whole not playing him, not featuring him, breaking him down to the point where he's on the blower to his agents and they're begging for a move. I get that. But by the same token of it, he must believe to a degree he can outlast Unai Emery. Imagine if you get these players, your fellow teammates on your side, because he is a big influence in the dressing room. That's a fact. Ironically, so is Mustafi. You get them on your side, you're still contracted until 2021. You're 30 now, so you'll be 32, 33. You love the London side. You've signed big money contract. You'd think you could outlast him to a degree, similar to Martial and Jose. You'd think you'd outlast the manager, to be fair with you. He's rejected loans. I think we're going to be in a position where we're going to have to loan him out and subsidise his wages, which you could say is pointless, but playing him and not playing him could be the difference between us paying 60% of his wages or 80%. Now, if it's 80%, we're still saving, but what's the point? Surely playing him in some capacity and convincing some prospective clubs that might have any interest in him, seeing him play, at least will think, all right, cool, we can get something done. He clearly is going to leave in May or whenever, but you see the point, people. As well, I don't think this is beneficial for us, because when away from these two, look at it, 7 defeats in the last 14, sorry. We haven't been in the best of form. Even the games we have won, there's still question marks. We've got a lot of things to worry about, let alone this nonsense between both of them. And I do think Ozil is very smart. If you saw his tweets as well, you think he's very smart. Just off the back, he was over 1,000 miles away from the game, and he tweeted that it was a bad result and stuff. Now it is, but you've got to think how smart that is. It's not even him, it's his team, or the social media team, because if you think about it, like I said, how some people support Ozil and Unai Emery on either side more than they support the club. You're going to get, Ozil's got how many millions of followers? You're going to get millions of followers. He's an idiot, man. Unai Emery's an idiot. Why ain't he playing you? You're going to get the fans on board. Fans are going to question it. And without looking at them two, Ozil has been in sides and we've sank, and he hasn't done the creative thing. But if we just look at the creativity within the side, he's come out of the side. Where's the creativity in the side? We've just bought Denis Suarez. Fair enough, he's still adapting on loan, but he hasn't come into the side. We know we've got Mkhitaryan and Iwobi. They're dividing opinion game to game. But if it's not him, who else? So it doesn't really make sense. And honestly, you could see that there's a lack of a creative, I won't say 10, because I don't necessarily believe it's a 10, but for want of a better word, people, a creative sort of 10. You can see it with Lacazette and Aubameyang when they're both on the pitch begging to come deep. Sometimes we're not hitting the fullbacks enough. In fact, we shouldn't be Arsenal Football Club with Kola as our most effective creative player in short, people. It is long, man, and the longer this goes on, it's going to weigh on our season. Out of all of the top 6 clubs, we're the most in trouble. I know Chelsea are doing what they're doing, but they've got Özil. We ain't got that luxury. People expect us not to get top 4, myself included, and you look at the money that might be available in the summer. We need to make sure we get that. So this and the backdrop, week in, week out, is gonna strain on us. And these players are not silly. The players don't live in a bubble. Surely the rest of the players that you're moving forward with surely have to be thinking, what are you doing with Ozil? Because it's not being reflected. I feel it's a dangerous game. If he wins, he wins it. And I do think Unai Emery will win it, because we need Ozil to... Well, we don't need him to go, but he's being let go for the greater good of the club financially. But it's a dangerous game, because if he doesn't win this battle, he's lost the whole dressing room, essentially, people. And even if you look at the quotes from Dennis Bergkamp, I can't remember them all, but you know how Dennis had them famous comments about you play for a club where you belong, or you belong at this team or something. He did that, and you can see all the footballers tweeting. Ozil heavily supported within our dressing room. To a degree, ironically, maybe that's why, again, I think he feels Mkhitaryan, but this is just me anyways. I feel Mkhitaryan and Mustafi are big voices in the dressing room, just because all the videos I see is about, you get little insights into how loved Mkhitaryan is. He's always taking people out, getting them gifts from not just the players, the backroom staff, and Mustafi seems a big person in the team. If I look at it from a manager's point of view, you look in the summer, you see Ozil, you see Mustafi, Mkhitaryan and other big voices. You can shake things up, but you can't get rid of too many key players or key voices in the dressing room, regardless of ability, or people are going to start questioning why. That's why typically you see teams, they keep... Okay, Kompany's been playing all right, but let's just say Kompany was past it when Pep went in. He might stay because he's a voice in the dressing room. He's a somewhat lieutenant. To a degree, that could be Lichtsteiner. Lichtsteiner's brought into the club. He's an older head. obviously the professionalism and all them things that Juventus trump ours. He's a new man, so he hasn't necessarily got allegiances to Arsenal or any of the players. Obviously, develops relationships, but hasn't got allegiances to any of the players within that squad. So he could be Unai Emery's mouthpiece, the lieutenant sort of thing. What are the players saying? How are they thinking? How are they reacting to my tactics? You look at Arsene Wenger when he came. He obviously had Vieira. Well, it wasn't his done, but it's Vieira, and he had Gilmandi to the point where he's a scout, a voice in the dressing room, someone that also helped Vieira adapt to the squad and stuff, and the way of life in London, but also someone that could relay things. You can't underestimate these things. I feel we're playing a dangerous game, people. This is the worst time for Arsenal Football Club to be divided. We've been divided for the last 2 seasons and we've got 6th. You look at Spurs, see what togetherness does. Spurs have a good squad, they've got great players, but would you ask the fans or Pochettino and them things there, would they have liked additional help? Yes. Would you ask them if they feel they can make improvements? Yes. Would you ask them if they were scared with the form, the run of fixtures they had going on for them, with the injuries they had with Kane and Dele? Yes, but the spirit, they've got a team spirit. They're all pulling together. We are not pulling together, no matter how much we try and say. We are a divided club at the moment. The fan base, we were united temporarily with obviously Wenger going, but we're divided now. We are divided. And this is the worst time to be divided. We're trying, dying. We need, out of all the top 6, we need to get Champions League the most, because we're sleepwalking into the abyss further and further. We need it the most. United, if they don't make it, all right, cool, fair enough. They've got money. Chelsea, they'll probably be back. Chelsea do this, man. They do these nonsense seasons and then come back trying to win the league title. They'll be back one season, whether it's under Sarri or not. City are up there. Spurs are the 3rd best team, I'd say, in the Premier League this season, and they've been the 2nd, 3rd best team for the last couple of seasons now. They ain't won the league, so they can't be the best. Liverpool going in another direction now. We've seen the money they're spending and how they're doing it. We need it, because we ain't got the money they have. We ain't got the squad they have. We need to stay together, and I feel the more this goes on, the more we're divided. I feel it's in our best interest, maybe not to start. I've not once said to start Ozil week in, week out. I think it's in our best interest to bring him back into the side, play him a bit more, because it shuts up these questions for the journalists and us fans. The players probably stop thinking certain things, and any prospective club that might have any interest of getting him, if he performs in even a game or something, they could be like, all right, cool, let's get this thing done. Obviously, if we want to move him on, then cool, but I hope it works for him. I hope it works for Emery in the sense that pushing him to the brink of he has to leave the club this minute sort of thing. But the man said he didn't want to go China. PSG loan was rejected in January, allegedly. It's a tough one, and it could backfire, to be honest with you people, because if you look at it on paper, I swear technically Ozil's contract is longer than Unai Emery's, and if you look at the results against Bay and the iffy decisions, I don't know if Unai Emery will make it to the summer. I think he will, because clearly, I'm not saying he shouldn't. He needs time. He's only been in the job 8 months. Like, he's only been in this role 8 months. It's tough to do everything you want to do, but do I necessarily feel, just on that topic, that he's convinced me in many ways, but do I feel he's necessarily convinced me to the point where I can just use the lazy excuse of saying, okay, if he brings in his own players, we're simply going to get better? No, because I haven't seen a proper consistent system where I can say, okay, Unai, you're going to bring your men in, and you can see, okay, cool, the system is where the players are letting you down because of the system. You bring in your men, your ball playing centre halves, your kind of more central midfielders sort of players, the Benega types. You get them in and we're going to improve. I haven't seen enough to simply suggest that that's going to happen. I can see it with Sarri to a degree. If he gets better defenders and better midfielders, you can see how they play football. You saw it with Pep Guardiola in the sense that he just needed some fullbacks and a couple others. You saw the system. Again, people, we know them clubs there are different, so all the smart asses that are going to get in the comments and talk nonsense. I just feel Arsenal fans, we're just too divided. We've got agendas. Some people love the players more than the club. Some people back the manager through everything for no reason. Some people lack the balance to see everything. Unai Emery can do no right to some people. It's ridiculous, man. And I know football fans are illogical and short, but it's ridiculous, man. Something needs to be done, because the more we hear tactical, like, you can't say the form we're in, you can't say tactical decisions are a reason for Ozil not being in the match day. Apologies, people, for not being in the match day squad. It just doesn't make sense. You can't talk about protagonists against Bate. To be honest, you can. I do think what he means by protagonist could probably be that Ozil's a coward, because I do think that language he used against Bate was pretty telling. I do think he's someone who's getting quite fed up of answering these Ozil questions, and to be honest, it's a game of poker. I think so, because look at the timing of Ozil's tweets from his social media team. Ozil versus Unai Emery, for me, it's nothing more than a game of poker. It's nothing more than both parties seeing who's got the bigger set of balls. Essentially, that's all it is. When we just need to think about the collective. Ozil can help us in some capacity this season. Unai Emery shouldn't have to dedicate all of his time and all these things to Ozil and answering them questions. Should just be able to focus on trying to get us back on track as a club. The facts are there is that the man's until 2021. He's on an £18 million per season contract. Are you seriously going to sit here and tell me not featuring him or alienating him to the point where he's not featured any significant part of the season is going to get him moved on? It's not going to happen, is it, people? It sounds quite ridiculous. Again, that's just my 2 pence. I just believe he should feature into the season a bit more. It would make more sense because it surely is like I even see what Wenger meant with Alexis Sanchez to a degree in that it's in his best interest to play well. If it's in his best interest, if the man is going to bust out and he wants to get the best financial contract or the best move, because I assume Ozil wants to play for a big club again, it's in his best financial interest to play well. It's in his interest to play well, because if he's not, you don't know what's going to happen for him. We'll see what it is. Ozil could be best prepared he could probably be prepared to sit out the next 2 years because he's given up on the international thing. He's on big money. Because of the form and stuff, we can't rule out him actually staying longer than Unai Emery. I do think they're going to give Unai Emery a minimum of 2 years, and they rightly should. But you never know. Football's a tough game, man, and results against Bate unexcusable. You can blame the players, but I do think. Just with Arsenal fans, I feel on the topic of lacking balance, I feel when we was winning 22 games unbeaten, we were saying it was all praise for Unai Emery, and now we're losing. There's no question marks on Unai Emery. It's all the players and him having to get the players when it's a balance thing. When we was winning, Unai Emery was bringing the grit and stuff like that, but as crap as the players are, they were doing it as well. Now we're poor. Of course the players need to take blame because some of the decisions these players make, Unai Emery can't account for, but at the same time, his tactics, the way he's been implementing it. By the same token, you see what I'm saying, people? Maybe even in hindsight, if someone keeps making subs at half-time, are they doing something right? I'm not too sure. Either way, I just want to see this end, man. Like, I'm tired of it. This must be how United fans felt, constantly seeing Luke Shaw, Martial, Pogba, and just about any other team player. Chelsea occasionally every week, Hazard wants to show off, and with this contract business. I just want to end to it. I've said this before, I'm tired of the dramas with Arsenal. I'm tired of the contract dramas of Aaron Ramsey's and Alexis's. I'm tired of these new dramas between Unai Emery and Ozil. For the last 2-3 years, all I want to deal with is talking about purely footballing matters, people. I just want to talk about how we're going to get into the top 4, how we're going to get into the Champions League. We cannot be divided. Arsenal Football Club cannot afford to be divided at this moment in time, and we are. This is a club that talk about winning through harmony and class and things like that, and we have a lot of that. But them same values that took years to ingrain are not here now. How are we winning through harmony? We're divided and we're being torn apart by destruction because we're divided. It is what it is, man. Divided we fall, and we are falling, to be honest. When the sun was shining and people were saying that they were papering over the cracks, people don't want to see it. And when it rains, it pours, people. They are true things for life and football, but it is what it is, man. For me, like I said, it's just a game of who's got the biggest set of balls between both parties, man. And I just want to see it end, to be honest with you. At this moment in time, the both of them can leave the club, man. Cause I'm tired of seeing this every day. That's something to do with these guys. I just want to talk about how we're going to get back into that tie. We shouldn't be saying that, but how we're going to get back into the Europa League tie. How are we going to play against Southampton on the Saturday? Do you see what I'm saying, people? I'm going to keep it moving, man. I ain't going to do too much, man. Get out of your hair, so... People, deluded, comment, subscribe and do the rest if you wish. I'm out. And I just banged my phone, probably cracked it, but I'm out.